13 huge EastEnders spoilers for next week. Next week on EastEnders, Chelsea calls off her wedding to Gray, while Aaron's story turns more sinister and its farewell to Tiffany. Here's a full collection of the biggest moments coming up. 1. Jay is stitched up. Poor Jay's problems will go from bad to worse next week when Janine and Billy do their worst. The police will search the car lot at the start of next week, but when they find nothing, Janine is forced to think outside the box. She tells Billy to plant the stolen jewelry in Jay's belongings and he agrees. However, just as he's about to, Jay interrupts. Billy manages to cover by claiming that he's getting rid of the necklace but later lies to Janine that the job is done. 2. Aaron's story turns more sinister. Aaron pressures his dad to question Dana about her conversion to Islam. Harvey does as he's told, but Dana assures Harvey she isn't converting but it's a possibility for the future. Later, Aaron meets up with Neil who is frustrated that Aaron isn't doing enough for the cause. At Ruby's, Neil watches Aaron. As they catch up afterwards, Aaron makes it clear that this is all part of his game plan to convince the locals he can be trusted. 3. Ben and Callum meet a handsome stranger. EastEnders will kick off a new story for Ben and Callum next week, as they eye up an attractive man in the market. They spot him again in the Prince Albert, and Callum invites him for a drink. After getting to know each other, the topic of conversation takes a turn. 4. Gray is left humiliated. The pressure on Gray is mounting, as Whitney continues to urge him to tell Chelsea the truth about his financial situation. He asks Ben for clients in return for a cut but is turned down, until Kirat interjects. To Gray's delight, Ben reconsiders and they are soon talking business. However, when Chelsea arrives home and sees a large man threatening Gray, she gets the wrong end of the stick and immediately shoves him out of the house. Gray is mortified and is forced to explain what's really going on. 5. Tiffany and Keegan clash. It's Tiffany's final week in Walford and it gets off to a bad start when she has another run-in with estranged husband Keegan. Tiff is sad to hear her brother Liam is planning to go back to Germany, but her thoughts are interrupted when Keegan asks if they can talk. This doesn't go well as the former couple are soon arguing about their relationship in front of everyone in the market until Aaron steps in to lead Tiffany away. 6. Tiffany sees Aaron's true colors. Following her explosive row with Keegan, Tiffany will start to see Aaron's true colors. Aaron buys Tiffany a drink but turns nasty when she innocently tries to answer his phone. After snapping at her for invading his privacy, Aaron grabs her arm and Liam spots their exchange. Furious, Tiffany warns Aaron not to speak to her ever again. 7. Gray teams up with Eve. Eve overhears Gray telling Ben about what happened with Chelsea and the prospective client. With Ben no longer wanting to give Gray clients as a result, Eve offers her services instead, but Gray passes. He changes his mind, however, when Eve shows up with a client in need of representation and a lot of cash. Desperate for money, Gray accepts and they begin to work together. 8. Tiffany faces a decision before her exit. Tiffany has spent the night with Keegan and confides in Whitney that Shush is still desperately in love with him but doesn't know how he feels. Sure enough, Keegan is saying the same thing to his mum Karen. Both Karen and Whitney respectively tell them to explain how they feel, but will they listen? And given that it's Tiff's final week on the square, is a happy ending on the horizon or not? 9. Chelsea stands up to Gray. Gray bans Chelsea from the house while he has clients over, not wanting a repeat performance from before. She asks him about baby names but Denise overhears and they argue. Frustrated that Gray doesn't have a lot of money, Chelsea gets an idea to get Gray his old job back. Disobeying the earlier orders, Chelsea enters the house, interrupting Gray's meeting and angering the client in the process. Gray is filled with fury, and, in turn, Chelsea calls off the wedding. 10. Sonia grows suspicious of Dottie. Sonia has put Rocky on a strict exercise plan in the wake of his health scare, but her suspicions of Dottie are increasing. When Sonia and Rocky spot Dottie, later on, Rocky quickly makes an excuse to leave so he can follow her. As he does, Rocky realizes that Shush is meeting a drug dealer. 11. Laura gives Whitney a dark warning. Gray's old boss Laura shows up next week with a warning for him. Whitney catches up with Laura following her tense confrontation with Gray and asks about why he was fired. Not holding back, Laura tells Whitney about Gray's dangerous and misogynistic streak, before suggesting she stays well away from him and Chelsea too. 12. Dottie suffers a new setback. Rocky sees Dottie with the drug dealer again, but this time she is short of money. Rocky steps in to sort it out, but the exchange is witnessed by a beady-eyed Peter. Rocky is adamant that this is the last time he's helping out and warns Dottie to get her into rehab immediately. However, Sandy steals all the drugs from Dottie and does another runner. 13. Janine makes a discovery about Mick. Over at the Vic, Nancy inquires about the grotto that Linda organizes annually. Mick firmly says that plan is off, prompting Janine to realize that things are clearly fraught with Linda. And if you've been reading our Christmas spoilers, you'll already know what Shush is about to do next.